Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Gabby Camacho. I'm a consultant here at Region 19 with my colleague, Silvia Zacarias.
Hi there.
Welcome to our podcast. We're so excited because we have here none other than Montserrat Garibay from the U.S. Department of Education. Welcome, Ms. Garibay.
Gracias. Gracias por tenerme aquí. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And she has this beautiful long title. We'll put it up in the screen, but we want to save time and we want to start a great conversation. We're so honored that you're here. Thank you for being here, for taking the time to be here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your upbringing and your career.
No, well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a joy to be here. Well, my name is Montserrat Garibay, and I came to the U.S. when I was a young child, not knowing a word of English, and coming to Austin, Texas, and having just an amazing teacher that really inspired me to become a teacher myself. She had a wonderful classroom where we had kind of like the United Nations in our classroom, and
Nice.
she was able to teach us with the best strategies, and it was just a fun classroom where I learned English within a year.
Wow.
And that, that really stayed with me, and I wanted to become a teacher just like Mrs. Hernandez. And I went through college and received my degree in bilingual education and taught pre-K for 8 years in a Title I school, and just really learned the importance of having a strong program, early childhood program, and really working with the parents. I did the same thing as my Mrs. Hernandez, my ESL teacher.
Yeah, her influencing you for sure. You
Yeah,
can see
no.
that.
I mean, and the strong foundation of that, and how you invite and welcome parents and utilize their language and the assets that they bring into the classroom, it just becomes magic. And I did that for 8 years and did my master's degree in bilingual education, my national board certification, and then I was able to go and be the vice president of the Teachers Union in Austin for 5 years.
Wow.
And, that work led me to working at the Department of Education for the past 2 years under the Biden and Harris administration.
Wow, awesome,
that's
awesome.
very
So,
good.
so tell us, other than Miss Hernandez, who had a great influence in you, what inspired you to go into education?
What inspired me were my students. Even in my office in DC now, I have all the pictures of my classes and their stories, their parents' stories, to come here to the U.S. to pursue the American dream. That's what inspired me. Inspired me to, do the work that needs to get done in our classrooms, empower students to know that knowing two languages can really help them in their life to succeed.
And as I hear you talk and y'all are listening, there is a strong sense of advocacy. I see it. We feel it. And I'm sure that carries through your work. So in your role right now, so what is the USDOE's vision for biliteracy, and what are the steps that are taken to achieve that vision?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Under the Department of Education, under Dr. Miguel Cardona, we're very lucky because he's had different roles in education. And biliteracy and multilingualism is one of his priorities for all students, right?
Good.
Biliteracy is an essential skill for the global competitiveness of our students in the 21st century. So literacy, we see it, biliteracy, as a tool of equity, and it says,
Right.
children for their skills to be developed, to succeed in our world. So we're taking very specific steps with different grants that we have at the
Awesome.
Department of
Yes,
Education
good.
that promote multilingualism, biliteracy as well. The National Development Program grants, those are the ones that we give every year, and they're very specific for promoting biliteracy and multilingualism. We also have different types of research throughout our different toolkits that we have to promote that. And it's really research based. This is best practices.
Right.
And really also, we host a variety of webinars at the national level where we're also bright spotting those places that are doing these programs well, because we know that sharing is caring, right?
Right.
When we share those best practices, districts can be inspired to follow these
Right.
practices of biliteracy, and they can see that you can do it too. Once you take those trainings, once you learn about those best practices, you can do them too, of course, model them to the way that you have within your community, and it's a plus for everyone.
That's amazing because that's like music to our ears, right? It's a very comprehensive approach, and that's fantastic. That's
Yes.
fantastic. Yes.
So, again, Montserrat Garibay, thank you so much for being here. Gabi, Camacho, and I, Silvia, Zacarias, have been working on this project for many months already. And we really wanted to have, or we have this big, huge vision to empower our teachers by providing the best professional development or learning opportunities. But we also wanted to bring somebody of your caliber to spread that message about equity, like you're talking about. And we were so blessed to have you. We sent out a request to the U.S. Department of Education asking if Dr. Cardona could be here, Secretary Dr. Cardona. And when we got the the response saying that Montserrat Garibay, Acting Assistant Deputy Secretary and Director for the Office of English Language Acquisition, OELA, would be coming to our symposium, we were just ecstatic.
I started crying and she started screaming, and
We
we
were
were in the
just-
technology department, and they witnessed all of this, right? And we couldn't believe it. For like 20 minutes, we were
We were
crying
just in
and
shock.
screaming.
We were just like,
In
is
shock.
this really happening? So the question was, and our vision was, what are going to be the repercussions of this? Because we want the moment that we knew that you were coming, we knew that this visit was going to be giving a shift to the symposium. It was going to be highlighting, of course, first of all, our teachers, our students, absolutely, but also putting the line or the light on Region 19. So we really appreciate you being here and taking the time to come here. You made some visits to our region. You visited 3 campuses. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What resonated with you? What is the message that you got? What is it that you would like to share with the public or the audience as they hear you from these visits?
Well, I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to be here in El Paso, where, bilingual and dual language education, everyone in the campuses that I attended, they know what they're doing.
Yes.
And they're passionate about it and committed, which is something that's really important, right? The amount of work that teachers put every day into their campuses, you can tell. I had conversations with high school students, bilingual conversations where they had complete sentences.
Yes.
They were so eloquent and so
Yes.
proud,
Yeah.
speaking both languages and sharing their thoughts. And that's exactly what we want to see throughout the whole U.S., right?
Yes.
Where we can be multilingual students sharing their knowledge, their
Right.
expertise, being empowered, loving their culture. That's the best gift that we
Yes.
can give our students. So by being in those campuses where it was elementary or high school, the kids were, they understand what the teachers are saying. The expectations are high. They are working in collaboration, talking with one another. But also I saw the importance of leadership in each campus.
Yes.
When you have a leader that is committed, that respects the language, then you have a great campus.
Yes.
And that's what I was able to see, that if we were able to have that in every school, in every state,
Yes.
we would be a different country, right?
Yes.
We know that in Europe, all these different countries
language,
speak
different
more than
languages.
one
Yes.
language, right? And it is time that we also step up to the plate and be
Yes.
unapologetic in saying it's okay to know more than one language. That is our superpower.
I'm
a
so sorry.
plus.
What
It's
is
a
the
plus.
what is the vision in regards to exactly what you just said? So in other countries, in other continents, having to speaking two or more languages is an asset and sometimes even a necessity. So what is the vision of the U.S. Department of Education in this regard?
Yeah. Well, a few weeks ago, Secretary Cardona did his beginning of the year
State
speech
of the
in a way, and he spoke about raising the bar, lead the world. In one of those priorities is making sure that all students have the opportunity to become multilingual. That is part of his priorities, and of course we're super excited
Yes.
because it's about time
Yes.
that
Yes.
we have
Yes.
our Secretary of Education share that, and exactly what you said, right? It's an asset. The kids that come not speaking English, they bring a lot to the table.
Yes.
They bring funds of knowledge, their culture, their language, and we need to see them as assets that we can build upon, right?
Yes.
That strong foundation is essential so they can learn English and they can learn French and Chinese and Mandarin, and that's where the world is going. Especially, I love it right here in El Paso. You're right here
At the border.
in the border, right? It is important. It's an asset that we need to have for our economy, our community, healthcare, transportation. Like any agency in DC, they're looking for bilingual employees because they are part of who we are, and they're gonna help us become even better.
Yes.
And Secretary Cardona's message on that in his speech was really important. And we're looking forward to moving that agenda forward and really highlighting and again bright spotting those communities that are doing it well, so others can be inspired to raise the bar and lead the world.
Beautiful. So Montserrat Garibay was here. Our symposium is today's symposium. So our day one was yesterday, Friday, February the 10th. And Montserrat was able to give us the keynote. So she had in the audience, she had parents, mostly parents. And you were able to share your upbringings, your story. We would like to know, for those parents who were not able to join us yesterday, what message would you give to our parents in our region, but also in the entire nation?
Well, I love talking with them and sharing my story, and also I thank them for the sacrifices that they do for us, for the kids. And first, like, they are the first teachers of their children, and the importance of communicating and having a good collaboration with teachers.
Yes.
It's a key. It's part of the building. It's part of building a strong foundation.
Right.
When kids in early childhood start school, if you have that connection, then you're gonna have a successful school career, right? So it's also empowering them that they can also be part of the schools, engage them in the school district,
Yes.
because they bring a lot to the table. And just extremely grateful that they were here and that y'all are giving them professional development.
Yes.
Right? In being thoughtful on what they can do at home. It's a key, and we need to work in collaboration all the time. The secretary says intentional collaboration. When you bring everybody to the table, you can make better decisions for our students. So
That's beautiful. Would you like to share a little bit of the role that your mom played in your upbringing and what Montserrat Garibay is today?
yeah,
Would you feel comfortable sharing?
of course. My mom has been an inspiration, obviously, but also she embodies the mothers, the courageous mothers that we have in our communities.
Yes.
And My mom always led by example. Uh, Coming to the U.S. undocumented, not knowing the language, she always told us, right? We're not rich. I'm not gonna give, leave you with inheritance or a lot of money. The thing that I can leave you with is your education. So your responsibility as a young kid was to learn, right? But she also was very strict on making sure that in la casa you're gonna speak español, right? Spanish, the proper way, and at home and at school you will learn English. And she would clean houses, and she was a nanny, and she would take the time every Tuesday and Thursday to go to the public library and take the classes in English. She's 70 years old, and she still goes to the community college.
That's beautiful.
And
That's
to
lifetime
me,
learner.
yeah,
Lifetime
to me
learner.
that was something that always stayed in my mind. And mothers sacrifice for us so much, and they give us the courage. And I think that that's really something that in the Latino community,
Yes.
we have that they make those sacrifices, and it
Yes.
is our responsibility
They sure
to
do.
to
And you know
give back.
something, that was one of the pieces that was so magical yesterday
Yes.
when you shared your story and you and the parents were there, right? Our first day, the symposium, we opened it up with parents. That was our first audience. And it was intentional. Like you said, it was an intentional collaboration, and that was a non-negotiable for us. And so you sharing your stories, and I was really, intentional also looking at the audience. They were taking it all in. And I think there was a lot of connections too, right? Because we all have had backgrounds where someone sacrificed something to bring us here, right? I can think of my own family. And when you share your story, I was looking at everyone, and everyone's like taking it in. So,
Yes.
and then you sharing it in Spanish, right? Here's a symposium, at this level, you at your caliber here, connecting with the parents. You have no idea how thankful we are for this, because this opportunity is once in a lifetime. And we thank you for creating those impacts. We always remember, right? Conversations with teachers and someone that made an impact. I know for certain that you made and you created
Yes,
impacts
you did.
to our audience. And
You
so
did.
thank you for that.
Thank you. No,
So we understand, the importance of our families, because especially in our communities, and I'm talking about if you're Hispanic or Latino, we're very family oriented. So thank you again, like Gabi is saying, for sharing that. Going back to you as being a teacher, there was something that resonated with me when you were talking about you taught pre-K for 10 years or something like that. And you said every year I make sure that during graduation time, I go back to Austin because my students are going to be graduating. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
yes, no, that's something that when my students graduated from, well, they finished pre-K, I wrote them a letter, and I put in the letter, find me because I will come to your graduation.
Oh,
So with Facebook and social media, I'm still in touch with a lot of the
Right.
parents, and they know that if they invite me, I will be there. So yeah, I block that week of graduations, and I'm in Austin,
Yeah.
and it's such a special time. Because they do remember me, and
Yes.
they're like, see, Miss Garibay, we had the garden and the bunny, and I learned about the butterflies, and they have we have this special connection
Yeah.
because I also did home visits. I would do home visits every year at the beginning of the year because I felt like that set the standard of we are partners. We're both
Right.
together in this journey. With me, your child is gonna be 1 year. With you, they're gonna be forever. And I want you to be in the classroom. We're partners. We're gonna work together, and they're gonna have a good, strong foundation, so they can keep going. And to me, that relationship still is very it's there. I think there's like every year I go to at least 5 graduations.
Nice.
And I just love it, to hear.
And what do they
to
tell
hear
you
the-
when they see you, Miss?
yeah, no, they're of course they're like super excited, and they tell me what they're doing, their dreams. I had one that last year going to Texas State to be an architecture.
Wow.
And some of them, I think it's also the importance of making sure that we have counselors that are leading the way and mentoring kids in the process of going to college. That's something that I think it's very needed. And the department, we're doing something on that. But that connection, it's like my favorite time of the year because I get to see them and I get to really, give them that, see them in their journey as they go to college or they go, in different pathways.
And knowing that you put a little piece of that.
Yes, that seed. Would you please give a message to those students that are emergent bilinguals, to students that are right now maybe newcomers, to students that just maybe came to the U.S., students that probably do not speak English yet, but they're in the process of learning a second or maybe a third language? What is the message? ¿Cuál es el mensaje de Montserrat Garibay para esos alumnos, para las personas que todavía estamos en ese proceso de adquirir el lenguaje inglés y que a lo mejor nos sentimos de alguna manera a lo mejor preocupados porque todavía no lo sabemos, porque a lo mejor inclusive el país es un poquito, es nuevo para nosotros, no nos sentimos, lógicamente venimos de otro lado, y estamos en un país extraño y también el lenguaje es extraño. Bueno, no es extraño, es distinto. ¿Qué mensaje Montserrat Garibay les da a esas personas basados en tu experiencia y en lo que estás haciendo ahorita?
Yo creo que lo que les diría es que sí se puede, ¿no? Pero que toma mucha dedicación, perseverancia y que está en Estados Unidos los sueños se hacen realidad. Con mucho trabajo se hacen realidad. Y yo lo que también les diría es que escriban sus sueños en un cuaderno. Porque los sueños que se escriben en un cuaderno se hacen realidad. Porque se quedan ahí y puedes regresar y recordar que puedes llegar tan alto como quieras, pero que va a tomar tiempo, paciencia y mucha perseverancia.
Obviamente te costó mucho trabajo y mucha dedicación. Veo tus lágrimas. Nos impactas también porque también nosotros somos muy lloronas, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Y vemos tu historia, hacemos conexiones, pero veo que te costó mucho este trabajo y dónde estás, lo que has logrado. Y quiero que sepas que tu vida, tu trabajo, tu influencia sigue y seguirá. Y llegaste al paso y va a seguir. Dejaste tu semillita aquí y se extendió y se va a extender.
Y esa semilla nos va a ayudar mucho aquí nosotros como comunidad. Simplemente el tenerte aquí, Montserrat, es algo maravilloso porque vienes del Departamento de Educación, pero como la persona que eres. Simplemente la persona. Hablamos de Montserrat Garibay, hablamos de esta persona que vino a los Estados Unidos, que aprendió un lenguaje, que viene de estas raíces hispanas, ¿verdad? Que a lo mejor económicamente hablando no era lo más alto, pero el esfuerzo del que habla Gabriela, de la que habla Gaby, es evidente. Y simplemente saber uno como hispano, mira, a lo mejor mi situación es muy similar a la de Montserrat, y mira ahorita dónde está. Eres un ejemplo a seguir.
Un ejemplo a seguir.
Un ejemplo, y al traerte aquí y que la gente conozca quién es Montserrat Garibay. Sí, la persona, la directora del lenguaje, todo eso, perfecto, maravilloso, pero la persona y la calidad de persona que eres, porque te vemos, hemos estado comunicando contigo, te hemos estado tratando, eres una persona muy humilde. Eres una persona que sabe dónde vino. Y esa es una de las cosas que dijiste ayer en tu keynote, ¿verdad? Cuando estabas haciendo tu presentación. Mi mamá me dijo que nunca me olvidara de dónde vengo. Y eso es algo que lo demuestras todos los días. Y nosotros lo vemos a leguas, como decimos. Una última preguntita. ¿Qué mensaje, así como diste un mensaje para los papás, para las personas que están encaminándose en esta vida, ¿verdad? De aprender inglés, o a lo mejor en esta vida nueva que tienen en este país, en Estados Unidos? ¿Qué mensaje les das a esas maestras bilingües, a esas maestras de lenguaje dual que llegan, o inclusive a maestras en general, que tienen a niños que están llegando aquí a su salón y que los niños que vienen a su salón a lo mejor no tienen ese idioma todavía. ¿Cómo deberíamos nosotros, las maestras, de reaccionar o de ver a esos niños que vienen aquí a la escuela? ¿Cuál sería tu mensaje para ellas? ¿Cómo sería esas recomendaciones o ese mensaje que nos darías a nosotras como maestras cuando tenemos a nuestros niños que vienen y que vienen con ese sueño?
Maestras y administradores, ¿verdad? Porque
En
sabemos que
general.
se empieza con el liderazgo.
Ajá,
Sí.
sí.
Pues yo les diría que abran sus puertas de sus salones y que to embrace, que ellos abran estas puertas a los estudiantes y que vean a sus estudiantes como el tesoro que son, ¿no? Que traen muchas riquezas adentro y que es importante que ellos se sientan seguros en sus salones, y que nuestra manera de cómo damos la bienvenida a nuestros estudiantes es lo que los hace o deshace. Entonces nosotros somos la parte tan importante para que un estudiante se sienta bienvenido, para que un estudiante se sienta que sí puede.
Competente.
Competente,
Ajá,
sí.
sí, claro.
Entonces,
Ajá.
eso es algo que pues yo les recomiendo a los maestros, porque la educación que les demos ahora es lo que los va a hacer tener una vida muy exitosa o una vida no muy exitosa. Entonces, la manera en que nosotros les damos esa bienvenida es muy importante, pero también como maestros tenemos una responsabilidad
Enorme.
de tomar las clases, de saber las leyes, de tener interacciones positivas con los padres de familia. Entonces, es una responsabilidad que tenemos como profesionales en asegurarnos de que sepamos lo mejor, best practices de la educación, para que podamos dar esa educación de la mejor manera posible. Y pues más que nada también agradecer a los maestros. Después, durante COVID, yo sé que ha sido muy, muy difícil. Y yo les pido a esos maestros también que cuiden su salud mental.
Claro
Porque
que
si
sí.
nosotros no cuidamos nuestra
Claro
salud
que
mental,
sí.
no podemos dar lo mejor de nosotros.
claro.
Entonces, pienso que es como nosotros les decimos a los estudiantes que se cuiden su salud mental, también nosotros como
Adultos.
educadores lo tenemos que hacer.
Mentí, dije última pregunta, pero no, esta es la última
Esta es
pregunta.
la-
Es la
ya,
pregunta que
porque-
Gaby y yo dijimos la tenemos que poner, a pesar de que a lo mejor no sabemos cuál será
Ajá,
el resultado, la respuesta,
Pero tenemos fe, tenemos
sí,
fe.
tenemos fe.
Pero no sé que sea así.
La pregunta
respuesta.
es que yo sé que depende mucho de tu agenda, ¿verdad? Y los proyectos que ya tengas establecidos a futuro, pero nos gustaría mucho y considerarías poder asistir a nuestro siguiente simposio el año que viene.
Pues me encantaría, si nuestros horarios
Ajá.
y si se puede, claro que sí me encantaría.
Qué padre.
Y yo les quiero agradecer a ustedes porque ha sido 3 días
Sí.
magníficos, y el estar donde suceden las cosas más importantes, que es la instrucción, es muy importante. Entonces yo les agradezco a ustedes porque ya no tengo tanto la oportunidad de ir a los distritos, a hablar
Sí,
con los
ajá.
maestros. Entonces, para mí esta experiencia me ha dado más energía y me ha puesto también los pies
Qué bueno.
en el suelo, ¿no?
Ajá, ajá.
Y tener esta interacción con los directores, con los maestros, con los padres de familia, me llevo mucho. He escrito mucho en mi diario.
Qué bueno.
Qué bueno.
Y lo voy a compartir con el
¿Qué te
secretario.
llevas del Paso? ¿Qué te llevas de Región 19? Ya te vas hoy, ya tomas tu vuelo un poquito más tarde. ¿Qué te llevas del Paso, de la gente, de las escuelas? Esa cosita que dirías, bueno, voy a tener una junta el lunes con el secretario de Educación, el doctor Cardona, y lo primero que me va a preguntar es cómo te fue, qué es lo que voy a decir.
Le voy a decir que en el Paso veo esperanza y visión de lo que es posible a nivel nacional. Y eso es lo que le voy a decir. Gracias.
Perfecto,
Hermoso, qué
muchísimas
hermoso.
gracias.
Pues,
y aquí tenemos un
Montserrat,
pequeño
Tenemos
detallito.
un pequeño detalle y sí queremos que lo abras porque tenemos el presentimiento que te va a encantar.
Muchas gracias, muchas gracias.
Un detallito para ti. Y sí, por favor.
Oh, gracias.
Ese es nuestro suéter de región 19
Me encanta.
Ese es
para
el
que
compramos especialmente para
este simposio, para que lo
Tiene
portes.
el logo de ESC19.
Ah,
Por
Que lo
favor, para
lleves.
es un regalito
Es
para
un
que
regalo.
por favor te acuerdes cuando
Sí.
lo veas de
Te
todas las
recuerdes de
cosas
nosotros.
bonitas que pasaron en esta visita,
Sí,
de
sí.
todas las conexiones que hicimos, de toda la gente que te conoció,
Ajá.
y de todos los corazones que estás
Sí.
moviendo con tu presencia y
Sí.
lo que viene.
Y lo que
Ay,
viene.
muchas
Así que
Hay otro regalito más, otro más, uno más.
Sí,
Sí, para que te tomes
para
tu
mi café.
cafecito. Ya sabes que somos
Sí.
cafeteras en la mañana. Te
Muchas
acuerdas de
gracias.
nosotros y luego brindas a nuestra salud.
Por favor.
Por
Y
sí.
ojalá que si se puede, ojalá que sí se pueda, si el año que entra que vienes, que vengas, ojalá puedan venir más gente
Varias
para que la
personas.
gente venga y tengan todavía un concepto más fuerte y más completo de lo que es región 19, de lo que son nuestras escuelas en región 19, de lo que es nuestro corazón, nuestra pasión,
Nuestra
y toda
pasión.
las cosas hermosas que hacen nuestras maestras y sobre todo por nuestros alumnos, por nuestros padres, por nuestra comunidad.
Te damos tantas
Muchas gracias.
Gracias por estar aquí. Eres nuestra hermana, ya te adoptamos.
Sí, sí, sí. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Les agradezco.
Gracias a todos.